On Mondays, I try to make sense of things by bringing the Jeff Ward dose of reality to a very weird football world. It's a world in which everybody is easily overreacting, so I call it overreaction versus reality. The reality would be mine, but I don't think it's that far off. So let's do this because it was a pretty meaningful weekend, to say the least. Overreaction. Malik Murphy, Texas quarterback, has won the starting quarterback job at Texas. Reality. No. Not based on his one and only start. He has not won the job. It's not his. It was, my opinion, we can disagree about this, it was a C-plus start. It was good enough, no doubt, but it was C-plus range probably. I was expecting more. So that's why you would say my grade is probably lower than others. I was expecting a lot more, honestly. Why not a higher grade, you would ask? Hey, they won. Their backup quarterback played his first game. They won because he was risky with the ball. I was expecting more. I was expecting a lot more. So he was risky with the ball. He had 2 turnovers. And what I thought we were going to see with Malik Murphy, we didn't see happen. And that is he would set his feet and deliver and show off his arm. And I didn't see it. I'm not even sure where in the game I saw it. Oh, you can tell there's talent there. There's no doubt about it. I thought there would be even more showing itself. He threw off his back foot a lot. Balls would sail on him. And oddly enough, this is a weird take on things. Oddly enough, I think he and his coach were overconfident, I thought. On his first 10 snaps, this is a guy that has not played a game. He threw 8 times. He threw 11 passes in the first quarter. I thought it was too much. I was surprised. I mean, for a team that has such a good run game, you would think you would work the guy in, but his head coach went about it just the opposite of that. Now, it didn't backfire. The result was the result. And, maybe there was some psychology there. I can't say that it was wrong, but the psychology, I guess, would have been, hey, kid, I'm going to turn you loose, be fearless, and that's cool. Okay. Again, it didn't backfire, but there's a difference between being fearless and smart and being fearless and dumb, and there were some fearless mistakes in there. He was mostly fearless and smart, and then it's not top-flight competition, let's be honest. Steve Sarkisian came out throwing, and then opposite of what you think they would have done, he then turned to his ridiculously good run game and put the game away. So Malik Murphy can be better than what he was on Saturday against BYU. The game needs to slow down for him. It might. To be fair to the kid, it was his first outing. I just didn't see the footwork. I didn't see the arm strength that's really there. I don't know what happens next. What is interesting is what Steve Sarkisian chose not to do, and that's play Arch Manning at all. At all. I do think that was smart. I think he was calculated and smart, and here's the reason why. The biggest game of the year is coming up against Kansas State. The biggest game of the year of a game not involving Oklahoma is against Kansas State. You're playing for your Final Four life. And if Quinn Ewers is out, Malik Murphy needs all the confidence he can get, and mucking up that confidence by playing Arch Manning would shake him, possibly. That's the psychology his head coach has to play. So I get that. And I think a lot of people would say, one, you wanted to see football royalty, but number two, you thought, man, doesn't this other guy need some reps? I don't know. I think you run the risk of mucking things up if you did. So I don't know. I assume he plays Saturday. I assume he goes the distance on Saturday, and you might see a better player. That one on Saturday was a C+. Overreaction. Your Dallas Cowboys are doomed to a playoff existence only on the road. Everything will be on the road. Reality. Maybe not. No, probably not. I'll say it that way. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. Dallas is 5-2. They've won, I think it's now 11 in a row at home. And the Cowboys and the Bengals were the best two teams playing yesterday. They were the best two teams all weekend. They'd beat anyone in the league on Sunday. I'm not saying you get that every week from Dallas. I think we know there's a little bit of Buffalo in them, and that is one week you're going to see a spectacular football team. The next you're going to see a total flameout. Yeah. But a lot of the NFL's that way. So I get why people wouldn't completely trust them, but Dallas scores 33 points in the first half. They were ridiculously good. Dak Prescott goes 25 of 31. If Joe Burrow didn't have the best day of any quarterback yesterday, he did. Next up would be Dak Prescott. If the playoffs started today, they'd be a 5 seed, and they would draw the Falcons, and they would win, obviously. But here's the thing to think about. This is the whole deal about, I'm not sure. I think some people are now starting to realize maybe I'm not crazy. I'm not sure they are doomed to all road games in the playoffs. Everyone that's in front of them is in front of them. In other words, they get Philadelphia twice next week. They get Detroit in a month. So tell me who is better than they are in the NFC right now. You might say Philadelphia. I would accept if you said Philadelphia. And after that, you say, go ahead. Who is it? So everything is in front of them. And if they're healthy, you really bet against them? That's an Eagles team, by the way, that just survived Washington. Now, they keep surviving, and there's something about closing games and winning games, and there's something to that. I get it. You trust Philadelphia more than you trust Dallas, but that's got to be changing some. It can't be the free-falling San Francisco 49ers. They're not. You wouldn't say they're better than Dallas today. Your Cowboys are in the running to win their division and are very much in the mix for a top 2 seed. 2 weeks ago, had I said that, I think I did, you called me crazy. They bet, to just show you how things are working, they bet on a player from the USFL, an important player. They bet on a USFL kicker, and they got it right. You play great defense and you kick well, you win. Got it? Works almost every single time. They got a field goal kicker that's now 18 of 18. You play great defense, you kick well, and you score 33.5, you dominate. Are you sure? Are you sure they're going to be a road team? I'm not. Overreaction. The Big 12 will have a spot in the Final Four. Nope. Reality. Nope. Right now, the Big 12 would get shut out, and right now, the Big 12 should. I don't know what the odds are, but you can feel it getting further and further away almost every single week. It's not necessarily Texas's fault. It's just everybody else is doing everything right. And every win by those ahead of Texas gets the Big 12 further and further away from playing in a Final Four. It's hard to see right now how the Big 12 gets a spot. It's got to be really lucky. A Kansas State win in Austin on Saturday, which I don't think happens, but in case you haven't paid attention, on consecutive weeks, Kansas State beat TCU 41-3 and beat a Houston team that took Texas to the rope 41-0. So a Kansas State win in Austin, and the Final Four is out. And it's a stretch for Oklahoma, too. So here's a weird question. Would the Big 12 commissioner, who has all but given pep talks to anyone playing Oklahoma or Texas, would the Big 12 commissioner not so privately cheer on Kansas State in Austin next weekend, even though it would mean his league gets shut out of the Final Four? I don't know if he'll say it publicly. I don't know what, I mean, I guess he might think it privately, but the guy's worst nightmare would be handing out a trophy to either Texas or Oklahoma in a rematch for the Big 12 championship. Upside is if Kansas State were to beat Texas, the Big 12 would be out. That means Oklahoma or Texas wouldn't see the Final Four. Might, if Oklahoma screws around again, might not even get in. Think about this. A loss by Texas against Kansas State, they might not see the Big 12 championship game. And another loss by an Oklahoma team that's falling to earth, they might not see the Big 12 championship game. That would be his dream, even though the Big 12 would get shut out. So he doesn't want to hand either one of them the trophy. But his nightmare is a Texas-Oklahoma rematch for the title. So is he begging for, privately or publicly, begging for a Kansas State win and then Texas gets nothing in its last year? The best chance for Oklahoma or Texas to get in is a Pac-12 dumpster fire. And that means, and every week that goes by, that gets further away. But that would mean Washington has to lose. And here's the thing that I don't think Oklahoma or Texas fans have considered yet. A good argument can be made that Oregon might need to lose as well. And that's not happening. They're better than both Texas and Oklahoma right now. So it's got to be a perfect storm for the Pac-12 because that's the direction Texas or Oklahoma, the Big 12, has to look because the SEC is going to get a spot, even with one loss, going to get a spot. Florida State's going to get a spot, and the Big 10 will clearly get a spot, and some would argue even two. So I don't know anyone that takes Texas other than fans and face painters. I don't know anyone right now that would take Texas in a Final Four over Washington and or Oregon. I don't see it. Overreaction. The Texans, the Houston Texans, have turned the corner. Reality. Excuse me, they just when some of us brag about the Texans, myself included, they suck. Like just when you look up and go, you know what, they're getting it right for the first time in practically forever. They lost to the worst team in the NFL, and they lost to the worst team in football and scored 13 points in the process. I assume they get 6 wins. It's set up so they can get 6 wins, but I don't know how you give Carolina their only win. I don't know how that can be. You had everything going for you, and then you turn around and acted like the Texans. Overreaction. This happened a lot. The Bengals are dead. Finished. Forget them. No way. Reality. After yesterday, I think you might say they are the second best team in the AFC North. And if Dallas wasn't the best team in the NFL yesterday, it was Cincinnati. Joe Burrow was ridiculous. He was ridiculous on the road against San Francisco. They're doing exactly, the Bengals and Joe Burrow are doing exactly what they did a year ago. Okay? Exactly what they've done the last couple of years. Start slow because he's hurt, and then when he gets healthy, and all you had to do is watch yesterday, he's running around like he's 19 or something. He gets healthy, he's the second best quarterback in the NFL of the past 3 years. Yesterday, he was the best quarterback in the league. So they are one of the better teams now. He was ridiculous. They beat San Francisco 31-17. He went something like 28-32. I mean, when he gets dialed in, it's absurd. He has 283 yards and 3 touchdowns against the best defense not named the Dallas Cowboys. Bet against him, I dare you. Say they're dead, I dare you. Because they look just like they did a year ago about this time of year. So if I had to list, I'm not looking at anyone else's list, but if I had to pick out rank the best 8 teams in the NFL as of today, right? I mean, stuff changes all the time. Remember, you saw this with Dallas. Everybody talks about the mental part and you know, again, we overreact all the time on Mondays, but the NFL is about being healthy and it's being rested. Take a look at that Dallas team after a week off. They were fresh. The best 8 teams in the NFL as of today are Philadelphia, Jacksonville, Baltimore, Kansas City, Miami, Dallas, yes, I think Dallas is there. Dallas, Cincinnati, and then 8 is either San Francisco or Buffalo. I trust San Francisco slightly more, even though they're in free fall right now. Those are the best 8, I think, in order. The best 8 college teams in order right now. You can take your pick of the top 3. I mean, they're sort of interchangeable, but I'd go Michigan, Georgia, Florida State, Washington, Ohio State, Oregon. Yeah, Oregon's better than Texas. Oregon, Texas, and then either Alabama or Ole Miss. Doesn't matter. That's how I'd rank the 8, and that's in order too.